of these 2 glasses of water would you drink? This is a little bit of a trick question, and it is also a little bit of a science experiment with a live demonstration live on stage. So from the distance, you cannot really tell the difference between these 2 glasses of water. And I can tell you that they are just water. There is no poison inside. If you drink one of them, you would feel refreshed. And if you drink the other one, it may hurt you. Now, we cannot tell from the distance which of these 2 glasses of water to drink. The reason why we cannot tell is that us little humans, we are extremely limited in our ability to perceive the reality around us. However, what we are actually very good at is coming up with technological innovations to better perceive the reality. And that is what I would like to demonstrate live on stage. So here, if I turn my camera towards these 2 glasses of water, you can see that one of them has this black color, and then the other one has this flaming red color. In case I turn this same camera towards me, this is how I look like. And if I turn this camera towards you, this is how all of you look like. There is one person waving to the camera. Feel free to do that. You can maybe spot yourself in the crowd. So, returning to these 2 glasses of water, I'm sure many of you already know what is the difference between the two of them. The black one is actually cold. That is why it has this black color. And then the other one, it is actually boiling hot. So if you drank it, it would really burn your throat. So we have taken a very inside look into me. You could literally see my skin glowing. So before we move on to the rest of my presentation, let me quickly introduce myself. I am a scientist. I did research for NASA. I am doing analytics for Google, as well as I went through a fire training at the FDNI, New York City Fire Department. This by no means means that I am a firefighter. It was a 1-day-long training. I am not planning to oversell myself. I looked at fires from a very, very safe distance. And today, I am going to take you on a journey. This journey starts with these 2 glasses of water, and we are going to go to outer space to better understand one of the biggest problems that we are facing today as a humanity, which is global warming, wildfires, dust storms. We are going to go through 3 technologies that the combination of these 3 technologies will hopefully address this massive problem. On our way in outer space, we are going to meet Arnold Schwarzenegger and Usain Bolt very randomly. And then we are going to come back on this stage, returning to these 2 glasses of water and reevaluate how are we looking at them. So let's start. The first technology I want to talk about is seeing the invisible. So my question to you is, what percentage of reality do you think we can see? It's definitely not 100% because, as we saw, we cannot see the heat radiating. But then what percent is it? Is it over 50%? Raise your hand if you think it's over 50%. You are all very smart. Is it less than 50%? Okay, more hands go up. And you are actually very, very right. The truth is that we can see only 0.0035% of reality. It is we were just peeking through a keyhole, trying to understand what is happening around us. This number translated to Earth, if you were looking at Earth and if you could see only 0.0035% of reality, that means that you could see pretty much only Dubai and nothing else of the rest of the Earth. So let me quickly walk you through light theory because it is kind of important for our demonstration. Light is basically just waves, and in the middle of it, you can see the colors of the rainbow. That is called visible light. And we named it visible light because it is visible to us humans. So we named it very, very egoistically. To the left of it, it is something that is called infrared. And that is the technology I just demonstrated on stage. This is basically seeing the heat. And a couple of animals see in infrared, for instance, most famously, mosquitoes. And why do mosquitoes see in infrared? Well, as you could see, my skin was glowing and your skins were glowing in this infrared light. And the favorite snack of mosquitoes is our warm blood flowing below our skins. Not only mosquitoes see in infrared, but also imaginary aliens that we invented. There is a Hollywood blockbuster movie from the 1980s called The Predator, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. And if you haven't seen this movie, I would very much recommend you to do that. In this movie, an alien called the Predator visits our planet and starts hunting humans, including Arnold Schwarzenegger. And they actually have an infrared vision. So how Arnie looks like in infrared is something like this. The saving grace of Arnold Schwarzenegger in this movie is that this predator is not at all innovative. So they came to visit Earth, but they didn't come up with the technology to be able to see visible light. So as long as Arnold Schwarzenegger didn't move and was covered in mud, he could escape this predator. So this is about visible light and infrared. It was 250 years ago in the early Industrial Revolution that we actually learned that infrared exists. It was this German gentleman who came up with the first tool to measure this infrared. And this is extremely important in the history of humanity because essentially this was the first tool that helped us to expand our reality. This was the very first time that we managed to understand something beyond what is available to us through our senses. And the tool, here is a close-up. This is how it looked like. Now, as you could see, I could replicate the same thing with a tiny camera and an application attached to my phone. So this is about the first technology, which is seeing the invisible. The second technology is seeing ourselves. Now, for thousands of years, humans were very good at simply looking up at the sky and using the sky for navigation. But it was a completely different story, of course, to go up into the sky and look up back on ourselves. It was in the 1940s that we came up with the first rockets that managed to reach outer space and actually look back on Mother Earth. The first images were funnily in black and white, which makes me smile because we had better rocket technology than imaging technology. And this was one of the very, very first images of Earth. Eventually, we started to become better and we started to capture images in the color that we can see with our eyes, so in this visible light. This is one of the most famous pictures of Mother Earth. It is taken from the moon, actually. And then eventually, with better and better technologies, now this is how we see Earth through this visible light. This is kind of how an astronaut would see Earth. But what happens if we combine this infrared technology that we just saw and satellites? This is how our Earth looks under infrared light. It is almost unrecognizable to us. The reason why it is unrecognizable, number one, it is an early imaging technology. And then the second reason why is that infrared kind of sees how the atmosphere interacts throughout the entire globe. So as a reminder, this is how the predator would have seen Earth when he was visiting our planet to hunt down Arnold Schwarzenegger. And in case a mosquito makes it to outer space, this is how they would see our planet Earth. Now, thanks to modern technology, NASA creates better visualizations. This is a visualization that was released only 2 months ago in August 2025, and I think it is phenomenal. You can see the dust storms emerging in Africa, making its way all across the Atlantic to the Caribbean. You can even see a hurricane across the eastern part of the United States. And you can see wildfires in Latin America and Africa. So this is really the combination of these two technologies, the infrared technology that allows us to see the invisible, and then satellite technology that allows us to see ourselves, essentially. And then the third technology that I want to mention allows us to see the future. What do you think is that technology? So to sum up, we had infrared to see the invisible, we had satellites to see ourselves, and what is the technology to see the future? Well, we are on the AI stage. So the technology I want to talk about is AI. And combining AI with these two other technologies, AI can essentially help in three different ways. It can help with accuracy, speed, and prediction when it comes to fire monitoring. When it comes to accuracy, Google, a couple of months ago, released a new set of satellites that can analyze fires at an unprecedented accuracy at only 5 times 5 meters. If we translate these numbers to the recent Los Angeles fires, and we zoom in, you will be able to see that the 5 by 5 meters split is something like as if two cars were parked next to each other. So basically half this stage, Google can monitor fires all the way from space. When it comes to speed, some of these wildfires can be incredibly fast. The fastest wildfires spread at 500 meters per second. For comparison, Usain Bolt, one of the fastest humans on Earth, runs only at 10 meters per second. So not even he can outrun wildfires. And finally, prediction. Because of AI, Google can use and analyze all this data at a high accuracy and high speed and predict almost in real time, in 20 to 30 milliseconds, where these wildfires are going to spread next. And giving this information to real firefighters, so not like me who just went through a one-day training at the FDNI, they can really use that data to save lives. So to sum up, global warming is a big problem. Wildfires are spreading at an unprecedented rate. Heat waves, dust storms, sandstorms are all a problem. And I think the reality can look very, very scary. However, with these technologies of using infrared to see the invisible, using satellites to see ourselves, and using AI to see the future, I think we can outpace our grim reality. And I promise that after our journey, we are going to come back to these 2 glasses of water. We could use technology to say that this glass of water is actually refreshing. But given that I am an optimist, I also see this glass as half full. Thank you very much.